There is a nationwide trend of threats being made on social media to harm students while they're at school. Some of it involves bullying and is the reason of it. Some of it are pranks coming all the way from overseas. Nearly every district across this country is dealing with these school threats, real and fake. I asked Major Stephen Garrett with the Broken Arrow Police Department to stop by and talk to us about what they're seeing in Oklahoma's fastest growing town. Joining me today is Major Stephen Garrett with the Broken Arrow Police Department. Thanks for joining us today.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.
I know a lot of people top of mind, they're talking about threats to schools right now. I imagine y'all are in the same boat. Is that right?
Yeah, we've been having, an elevated number of calls in reference to that. As the major of the patrol division, I'm in communication on a weekly basis with the schools. We talk several times a week, and certainly we will respond to the schools or wherever we need to respond when we get those types of calls.
How much of this is local? Because I know we've heard from Tulsa police, there's some guys in Europe who are messing with us at times, but I imagine there are some kids who are bullied or whatnot that you are dealing with. Is that right?
So we have noticed that it's somewhat of a national trend, and we're seeing some of that in our own community, both locally in the Tulsa metro area and in the city of Broken Arrow. What we do is we investigate every call that comes in reference to threats or bullying. If it raises to a level of criminality, then oftentimes we'll respond, take a report. If we can identify the students involved, we'll talk to them. Oftentimes we'll talk to their parents, kind of see where we go from there. And all that's in collaboration with the schools also.
Do you take each one seriously? I imagine, the one could be the one that you miss.
Absolutely. I mean, we have to take every threat seriously. To date, we've yet to find one that we find to be significantly credible, but we take all of them seriously. We investigate all of them. We work collaboratively with the schools. Sometimes it requires us to work with other agencies because sometimes, that they cross jurisdictional lines, but we certainly take all of them seriously. You have to in today's society.
How much of this is students sharing something they saw as far as, click, copy and paste on social media? Does that happen?
Yeah, actually a lot of it is that. And one of the things that I have often said is, the parents should really be making sure that they know what's on their children's cell phones and mobile devices. What apps are they downloading? Who are they talking to? What are they talking about? Just have that moment with your kid each day, so maybe they'll reveal something to you. What happened at school today? And oftentimes you can find information out that way.
I've often heard, and we often say, see something, say something. I imagine there's no way for you to look at every student's Facebook page and find something. How much of this is reported to you versus you all finding this yourselves?
Well, so we do occasionally get information from other agencies, or we'll get calls from other students about things that were posted by someone other than them. But oftentimes, we'll research those social media if we have access to that. If we need to take further steps, we certainly are in contact with our criminal investigations division. And we work collaboratively with everybody to make sure that we have the information we need. If we need to respond to a child's house and talk to them and their parents and check the credibility of a known threat, then we often do that. And those are regular details that we work out through the course of an investigation.
Is some of this a cry for help or attention from a student who may be making these threats?
Well, every situation is different. Sometimes it may be, but it's certainly, if someone is taking things to that level, it's something that we have to consider as a possibility. In today's world, we know that it happens across our nation, and we certainly want to do everything we can to try to prevent that in our own community. And by doing that, we have to all work together.
How frustrating is it for you that some of these are some guys in Europe messing with us?
That can be frustrating because it's hard to have access to those people if they're suspects in a crime, and it is a crime to make those types of threats. We don't have access to them. We often can't talk to them. But if we can identify that it's in Europe, then that plays into us determining how credible the threat actually is. Now, of course, you don't want to just assume that it's not credible. So we have to look at all of those angles and determine how credible it is and how far we need to take it from that step.
While I have you here, I know a lot of attention's been paid to the grappler. Is that right?
Grappler.
You have this new equipment, and we'll put it up on the screen for folks. But when do you use this thing? Is this the first resort during a chase, or are you still doing pit maneuvers out there?
So we just recently introduced that to our patrol division. We have 5 of them on the streets right now. It's not necessarily a first or a last resort. It's a resort. It's another tool in the tool belt of a police officer to be able to stop a pursuit because, as you know, increasingly they can become more and more dangerous. If we have the opportunity to use the grappler, whether it's at the very beginning, or at the end, whether the vehicle is slowing down, we'll certainly do that and use those tools to stop a pursuit to keep our community safe.
When you deploy this thing, one thing I was wondering watching this, is it multi-use or is it, one time and then the chase damages it and you got to go out and buy a new one?
So once it's utilized, you have to do some work to get it back up and running again, but it can be utilized multiple times. But once it's utilized, you have to pull the net back and have to see if it can be used again. If not, then you have to replace that part of it. But it can be utilized more than one time.
How many units are going to have this thing, or are you just going to have a grappler unit that will come on in?
So we have 5 right now, and from that point forward, we may see of deploying more. Of course, that's subject to funding and things of that nature, but we're going to start with the 5, see where we go from there, and if we need to put more on the streets, we certainly will.
Thank you so much for stopping by today. I appreciate it. And we will be in touch for any school updates that come.
All right, let me know.
Thank you so much.